A young actress once walked into a palace on the French Riviera and put her entire fortune, every gold coin she had, on a single roll of the wheel. Russian aristocrats lost entire estates in one night, and the casino built a private room, nicknamed the Morgue, for the gamblers who couldn't live with what happened next. This wasn't a myth. This was Tuesday night at the Casino de Monte Carlo.
And before you sit back and think, well, thank goodness we're smarter than 19th century dukes wearing velvet jackets, let me ask you a quick question. Have you opened a trading app today? Have you checked a price chart on your phone and felt that little spike of adrenaline? Because structurally, textually, and mathematically, nothing has changed. We just replaced the velvet with glowing screens. Hi everyone, welcome to Finance King and Queen. If this is your first time here, we're Finance King and Queen, and this is where history and money collide.
I'm the queen. I dig up the stories. He's the king. He breaks down what they actually mean for your wallet. Today, we're looking at the hidden history of how the modern obsession with quick money was engineered over a century ago, and why the house always finds a way to win. Let's rewind to the mid-1800s. Monaco had just lost most of its territory and was practically broke. No industries, poor farmland, a ruling family staring down bankruptcy. So Prince Charles III made a gamble of his own. He legalized gambling and brought in a French entrepreneur named Francois Blanc to build something the world had never seen. The result, opened in 1863, was the Casino de Monte Carlo, designed not just as a gambling hall, but as an entire seductive experience. It worked almost immediately. Counts, dukes, barons, and wealthy heirs poured in from across Europe. The stories became legend, Russian nobles losing entire family fortunes in a single sitting. The actress Sarah Bernhardt once wagering everything she owned on one evening at the tables. For some, one bad night didn't just mean an empty wallet. It meant the end of a family's standing that had taken generations to build.
And here's where the economics get fascinating and terrifying. Most people assume those aristocrats lost because they were just unlucky. Wrong. They lost because of a mathematical principle called the house edge. The casino didn't need luck. It had math. Every single spin carried a tiny, built-in statistical advantage for the house. Play long enough, and the money flows in one direction, toward the house. Gravity always wins. One former croupier who worked the tables in the 1910s and 20s put it bluntly. Anyone who thinks they can walk into a casino, win a fortune, and keep it is living in a fool's paradise.
What fascinates me as a historian is the psychology behind the building itself. No clocks on the walls, no windows showing the daylight, free-flowing champagne. Every detail was designed to disconnect people from real-world time and real-world money, so their brains would stop calculating risk and start seeing chips as points in a game instead of rent, land, or a family's future.
That's the exact blueprint modern trading apps run on. Bright, saturated colors, confetti animations when you make a trade, push notifications every few minutes nudging you back in. Different tools, same target. The same dopamine loop the designers of Monte Carlo figured out by candlelight.
They removed the friction, too. Back then, you had to physically travel to Monaco, walk into a grand hall, and hand over heavy gold coins. Today, you can commit your savings from your couch, in your pajamas, in 3 taps on a glass rectangle.
So here's the distinction I wish more people learned early, because it's the one thing that actually protects you. Investing means buying a share of something that produces real value over time. A business selling real products, real earnings, real cash flow. You're being paid, eventually, for owning a piece of something productive.
And speculation?
Speculation is betting on where a price will move, with no claim on anything productive underneath it, hoping someone else pays more for the same thing tomorrow. That's not inherently evil. Markets need some of it for liquidity. The problem is when people mistake one for the other and bet their savings on price movement while believing they're investing. And just like the casino, modern markets have their own version of the house edge. Spreads, fees, funding rates on leveraged positions. Liquidation engines on margin trades. The platform, the exchange, the broker, the market maker takes its cut first, win or lose. That's not a conspiracy. It's just built into the structure, the same way it was built into that roulette wheel in 1863.
It's remarkable how closely history rhymes here. In the 1800s, pamphlets warned young men about the dangers of what they called speculative fever. Today, we just call it finance content on social media. Same fever, different century, faster delivery. So what's the actual lesson? Not avoid risk. Humans have always taken risks to build a better life, and that's not going to change. The lesson is about which risks and who designed the game you're playing.
Exactly. The people who built real, lasting wealth throughout history were almost never the ones betting everything on a single spin. They were the ones who understood the difference between owning something productive and betting on a number. Real wealth building is slow, unglamorous, and built on logic, not adrenaline. Once you see that the system is designed to make you act on emotion, you gain the ability to step back, protect your capital, and play a smarter game.
Drop a comment below. Do you think modern trading platforms are legitimate tools, or just digital casinos with better lighting?
Hit subscribe if you want to keep cutting through the noise and building real financial sense. We'll see you in the next one.